Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, I had a voice radio. So today, we are looking at a brand new Uxie card that is coming out in Sun and Moon 5+. A Pokemon that I always pronounced Uxie, but it turns out it's actually pronounced Uxie, so when I inevitably get it wrong at some point during the video, my apologies, ladies and gentlemen. I shall try and do my best for little Uxie. Now, this is a Pokemon that has always had a special place in our hearts because, of course, the Uxie from Legends Awakened is literally, without exaggeration, one of the greatest cards we have ever had, ever, in the history of the game. It's kind of like Shaman, except it gets you an extra card and doesn't give up 2 prizes when it's KO'd. Which is ridiculous. This new one, maybe not quite as good as the old one, let's face it. That was going to be a pretty high standard to try and meet. But certainly interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Now, looking at the basics, it is a psychic Pokemon, which does mean it will fit neatly and nicely into a Garbodor deck. But there aren't really that many advantages for psychic Pokemon, to be perfectly honest. It's not like fighting Pokemon who get like Strong Energy and Brooklet Hill as a nice combination. Psychic Pokemon, kind of unloved right now. Now, the good news is you are hitting a decent weakness against Espeon and Buzzwole, which is really nice. But being weak to Psychic means an Espeon with Confuse Ray for a single energy will get a fairly easy KO. But then again, you've only got 60 HP, which means you have very little HP anyway, so you ain't lasting that long regardless. It's just, I suppose, a little bit sad that Level Ball has rotated. Now, that's all well and good. But it's the attack here that we're really worried about, and once again, our translation comes from the lovely David Hockman, Mr. Appleman TCG himself, and it's an attack that we've kind of seen before. It does 30 damage, that's alright, more on the numbers in a minute, and it means that you get to choose one of the defending Pokemon's attacks, and that Pokemon is not allowed to use that attack during the following turn. You get to just stop one of their attacks, not unlike Disable in the Pokemon video games. And it's this secondary effect that really makes us want to get slightly excited about this. If this was just an attack that did 30 for 1 energy, shall we say I would struggle to get much mileage out of having a chat about it. But I like the fact that you get to take away one of your opponent's moves, because obviously me being me and me being a big fan of data and research, as soon as I found this out, the very first thing that I did was go and have a good old gander at all of the main Pokemon that are really good at the moment to try and decide how annoying this attack could be, and the answer is very. Now, in terms of the damage here, 30 damage really is very low, but the good news is it's enough damage to KO a Mew, and it's also enough damage to KO a Mew, so that's not too bad. But we're not really trying to KO 30 and 60 HP Pokemon here. What you can actually do is hit a Psychic Weak EX or GX, and this actually adds up very, very quickly. So let's say you had a choice band on there, this 30 goes from 30 to 60. That in and of itself, pretty nice. Then imagine you're hitting for weakness against, I don't know, let's say something like a Buzzwole, and now all of a sudden you're hitting for 120. For a single energy, that's actually really good. Now, don't get me wrong, against stuff that isn't weak to Psychic, if you don't have a choice band, this is not much damage. But against stuff that is weak to Psychic, if you do have a choice band, I am a big, big fan of this. It's not going to be a great attacker in many matchups, but it's going to be a great attacker in some. Now, of course, when I looked at this, I was like, but it's only got 60 HP, so you take a Buzzwole, you give him a Strong Energy and a Fighting Fury Belt, or a Strong Energy and a Regirock, and then all of a sudden, they're getting an easy one-hit KO with Jet Punch. Oh, no, wait! That's not going to happen if you use this attack to disable Jet Punch. And that, ladies and gentlemen, that is where this attack really, really shines. So let's take a look at some of the key Pokemon in the format at the moment and how much you can mess with them by choosing one of their attacks and telling them they can't use it. So if we start off with Buzzwole, you go, hey Buzzwole, bad news, you can't use Jet Punch. Well, now all of a sudden Buzzwole can still do 160 and get a big KO if they put free energy onto a Pokemon. That's gonna be incredibly difficult. I would go as far as to say that it's probably not something that's going to happen very easily at all. So all of a sudden, Buzzwole goes from this, use Jet Punch, and then at some point we'll get free energy on there and do a big attack, to either you get free energy on, or you're not attacking at all. Gardevoir only has one damaging attack. Gardevoir's got a really good ability. It's got Twilight GX, which is fine for recovering cards, but in terms of damage, it's Infinite Force or nothing. Well, bad news, ladies and gentlemen, because if you turn off Infinite Force, it's nothing. Volcanion EX has an attack and an ability. So if you use this attack to say, sorry Volcanion EX, hate to break it to you buddy, but you're not able to use your attack next turn, it's not like Volcanion can go, fine, I don't need to use Volcanic Heat, I'll use my other attack. There is no other attack. This is all Volcanion gets. Garbodor. Now I know Garboda's fallen a little bit out of favour at the moment, but Garbodor is good because it's got Trashalanche, an amazing attack that for one Psychic Energy does 20 damage for every item your opponent has in their discard pile. Well, if you turn off Trashalanche, and a lot of people get this wrong, I did for a long time, it is actually Trashalanche, not Trashvalanche, which would be a much better name. But I digress. If you turn that off, then they've only got access to Acid Spray, which is for a Psychic and a double colourless, and I'm going to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, although this can be a useful attack on occasions, this is not really what Garbodor does well. This is not what you want to do with Garbodor. It is, shall we say, annoying. Zoroark, best Pokemon in the format at the moment, and another Pokemon where if we have a gander, we can see an ability, a good attack, and a GX attack. Now, first of all, are they going to use their GX attack to take down a 60 HP Uxie? Probably not. Secondly, an awful lot of Zoroark decks are not playing Darkness Energy. They're playing it with Buzzwole and Fighting Energy, or Golisopod and Grass Energy, but not Darkness Energy. So yeah, it can shut down the best Pokemon in the format. Golisopod needs to add a double colourless energy if you turn off First Impression. And the last example I'll give you, because we're kind of flogging the proverbial horse at this stage, you turn off Silvally GX's Turbo Drive, and all they've got left is their GX attack. And are they really going to use their GX attack to KO you? Now, having said all of this, and I believe I have shown quite conclusively that there are a number of really good Pokemon that get pretty much shut down by this attack, there is a huge downside. Because if the Pokemon that's hit by this attack from Uxie gets out of the active, then all of a sudden, it just gets reset. So if they use something like a Guzma and then retreat, or retreat and then use a Guzma, either way, they are fine. They can now attack again. That's a little bit annoying. Now, of course, after you disable an attack with Mew, you could then bring up something else, but they couldn't bring up a bench Pokemon to hit it. It is their Pokemon that has the attack disabled. Or they just use Ace Roller and retreat the new active. So something like a Buzzwole gets hit, they pick it up along with the strong energy, and then they just put something active, retreat it, and then Buzzwole's off and ready to go. I also am contractually obliged to mention Pokemon Ranger, and then to just add on to the end of that no one is playing it at the moment. And the problem is that when they do this, when they play the Ace Roller, when they play the Guzma, you've got a 60 HP Pokemon. It is going to be KO'd. Your opponent is going to have access to this. That's really sad. But sometimes you can completely shut down a Pokemon for several turns. Against Psychic Weak GXs like Buzzwole or Naganadel, you can turn off their first good attack. They then have to find a whole bunch of energy, or get out the active, because you are 2-hit KOing them for 2 prizes. Even against something like a Tapu Lele, you're free hit KOing, so you could use something like a Pokemon Catcher or a Counter Catcher, drag it in the active, hit it with Uxie, and then go, right, you've got to get this out the active, or I'm going to take 2 cheeky prizes. Have fun using your energy attachment for the turn to retreat your Pokemon. Have fun wasting your resources, because you know what? If you don't waste resources, you're giving up prizes. There's a lot of ways around this, I get that. But when this works, this is great. And you're hitting a brilliant weakness, so I feel like giving this free Wassies. And as it is my video and my score, I'm going to give it free Wassies. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to disagree or agree, I'm cool with either. Let me know in the comment section. Tell me what you think about this new Uxie. Go nuts! But be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, go over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio. There's bonus pods, and I think they're pretty good. And of course, please make sure you check out Wassie Plays, my video game channel I am trying to build to make the dream a reality. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves. Until next time, thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.